The South China Sea, a region already fraught with tension and uncertainty, was jolted awake by a dramatic and chaotic incident near Scarborough Shoal. This area, long known as a maritime flashpoint, became the stage for a high-stakes confrontation that would send shockwaves far beyond its turquoise waters. Early that morning, a Chinese Navy warship and a Chinese Coast Guard vessel began aggressively pursuing the BRP Suluan, a Philippine ship tasked with patrolling its country's claimed waters. The chase unfolded at high speed, with both Chinese vessels maneuvering dangerously close to the Philippine ship, their intentions unmistakably hostile. The tension on deck was palpable, as the crews braced for the worst, knowing that a single miscalculation could spark a wider conflict. In a shocking and unexpected twist, the Chinese warship, in its aggressive attempt to intercept the BRP Suluan, collided with its own Coast Guard vessel. The impact was severe, sending shockwaves through both ships and throwing crew members off their feet. Emergency alarms blared as sailors rushed to contain the damage. Tragically, 2 Chinese crew members lost their lives in the chaos, a somber reminder of the real human cost behind these maritime standoffs. News of the accident spread rapidly, with international media converging on the region and diplomats scrambling to respond. The incident underscored the rising tensions in these disputed waters, drawing global attention and sparking urgent discussions among world leaders. The world watched as statements of concern and condemnation poured in, highlighting just how volatile the situation had become. Scarborough Shoal, located just 100 nautical miles from the Philippine coastline, is a small but strategically vital reef. Despite its proximity to the Philippines, China claims the shoal as its own, making it a constant source of friction between the two nations. Its location at the heart of major shipping lanes and rich fishing grounds only adds to its significance, turning every encounter here into a potential international crisis. The proximity of these confrontations to Philippine territory highlights just how volatile and dangerous the conflict has become. Local fishermen who rely on these waters for their livelihoods now find themselves caught in the crossfire between powerful navies. Military ships from both sides patrol the area, their presence a constant reminder that peace here is fragile and could shatter at any moment. Each incident in these waters is more than just a local skirmish, it's a test of wills between nations, with global repercussions. The standoffs and collisions are watched closely by the international community, as they could easily escalate into a larger conflict involving multiple countries. Diplomatic efforts continue, but the risk of miscalculation remains ever present. As tensions escalate and the world's eyes remain fixed on the South China Sea, uncertainty hangs in the air. Every new encounter near Scarborough Shoal is a reminder of how quickly the situation can spiral out of control. The world watches, anxious and uncertain, wondering what the next chapter in this unfolding maritime drama will bring. The South China Sea is more than just a stretch of water on the map, it's a vital artery for global trade, connecting the economies of Asia, Europe, and beyond. Every day, thousands of ships traverse these waters, carrying everything from electronics and oil to food and raw materials. In fact, nearly a third of all maritime commerce passes through this region, making it one of the busiest and most important shipping routes in the world. The uninterrupted flow of goods here is essential for the stability of global markets and the daily lives of billions. Control over the South China Sea means holding the keys to economic and strategic power. For both China and the Philippines, as well as other neighboring countries, this control is not just about territory, it's about influence, security, and the ability to shape the future of the region. The competition is fierce, with each side determined to assert its claims and protect its interests. Beneath the waves, the stakes are even higher. The South China Sea is believed to hold vast reserves of oil and natural gas, resources that could fuel economies for decades to come. Its waters are also home to some of the world's richest fisheries, providing food and livelihoods for millions. For both nations, these resources are not just valuable, they are crucial for economic growth, energy security, and feeding their populations. For the Philippines, access to these resources is a lifeline. Fishing is a way of life for countless coastal communities, and the sea's bounty sustains families and local economies. Losing access would mean hardship for many who depend on the ocean for survival. For China, the South China Sea is equally vital. Its booming economy needs a steady supply of energy and resources, and control over these waters helps secure that future. The region's energy reserves and trade routes are seen as essential for continued growth and national security. But as China expands its presence, tensions rise. Filipino fishing communities find themselves squeezed out of traditional waters, their livelihoods threatened by patrols and new restrictions. The struggle for control is not just a political issue, it's a daily reality for those who call these waters home. The South China Sea's immense wealth and strategic location have turned it into a geopolitical hotspot. Disputes here draw in not just local players, but also global powers, raising the stakes and the risk of conflict. What happens in these waters can send ripples across the world, affecting economies, alliances, and peace. The question remains, who will ultimately control this maritime prize and at what cost to the people and nations who depend on it? Confrontations between Chinese and Philippine vessels have surged, revealing the fragile peace in the South China Sea. In August 2025, a Chinese warship collided with its own coast guard while chasing the BRP Suluan, resulting in tragedy. Just weeks later, Chinese water cannons targeted a Philippine vessel near Scarborough Shoal. These aggressive tactics fuel animosity and make diplomatic solutions elusive. Both sides ramp up their naval presence, each incident a reminder of unresolved disputes. The world watches nervously, aware that any clash could ignite a larger conflict. Under President Marcos Jr., the Philippines has pivoted from a pro-China stance to a bold pro-US alignment. Manila now spotlights Chinese aggression with videos and photos, rallying international support. Strengthening alliances with the US, Japan, Australia, and others, the Philippines seeks a united front. Joint war games and advanced missile deployments near Taiwan signal a new defense focus. The Philippines' involvement in any US-China conflict over Taiwan is now seen as inevitable. This assertive strategy marks a new era in Philippine foreign policy, one built on transparency, alliances, and deterrence. The nation's choices will shape the future of the South China Sea conflict. The Philippines' strategic shift in the South China Sea has drawn robust and visible backing from the United States and its network of allies. This support is not just symbolic. It is a clear signal to the region and the world that Manila is not standing alone in the face of mounting challenges. The US has long been a key partner for the Philippines, but recent events have brought this alliance into sharper focus, with both nations reaffirming their commitment to mutual defense and regional security. After the August 2025 collision between Chinese and Philippine vessels, the US responded swiftly, deploying 2 advanced warships to the region. This move was more than a show of force, it was a tangible demonstration of the US-Philippine Mutual Defense Treaty in action. American naval presence in these contested waters sends a powerful message to Beijing and reassures the Filipino people that their security concerns are being taken seriously by their allies. US officials have repeatedly emphasized that any armed attack on Philippine public vessels or armed forces in the South China Sea would invoke a military response under the treaty. This clear and public stance is designed to deter aggression and prevent escalation, making it clear that the Philippines is not isolated in its struggle to defend its maritime rights. The presence of US warships and joint patrols with the Philippine Navy have boosted the confidence of Filipino forces operating in these tense waters. These coordinated maneuvers not only enhance interoperability between the two navies, but also complicate China's strategic calculations, making any unilateral action riskier and more costly. The Philippines is also seeing growing support from other regional partners. India, for example, has stepped up its involvement by joining joint naval exercises and increasing its presence in the Indo-Pacific. The participation of Indian Navy ships alongside Philippine and US vessels signals a broader coalition forming to counterbalance Chinese expansionism and uphold the rules-based order at sea. This expanding network of international support amplifies the Philippines' diplomatic voice and strengthens its negotiating position. Multinational naval formations and high-level meetings among defense officials underscore a shared commitment to freedom of navigation and respect for international law in the South China Sea. For Manila, the backing of allies is not just a matter of military might, it is a crucial source of reassurance and legitimacy. With allied ships escorting Philippine vessels and international partners standing shoulder to shoulder, the Philippines is better equipped to stand up to China and defend its territorial claims. As tensions continue to rise and the risk of confrontation grows, this united front of support will be vital, not only for the Philippines but for the stability and security of the entire region. China's approach is marked by assertive rhetoric and a rejection of international legal rulings. Beijing accuses the Philippines of illegally occupying Chinese territory, dismissing the 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling that invalidated its 9-line claim. China frames the conflict as a matter of historical rights, challenging the international maritime order. This stance draws global criticism and raises concerns about regional stability. China selectively enforces its claims, targeting the Philippines while overlooking Vietnam's land reclamation. This double standard reflects China's strategic calculations, balancing ambition with the need to avoid alienating potential allies. As China doubles down on its narrative, it risks further isolation on the world stage. Unlike the Philippines, Vietnam pursues a quieter strategy in the South China Sea. By avoiding public confrontations and maintaining a multi-aligned foreign policy, Vietnam manages its relationship with China while expanding its own claims. Massive land reclamation in the Spratly Islands mirrors China's tactics but with less publicity. Vietnam's participation in organizations like BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization helps balance its ambitions. This approach has led to a softer response from Beijing, highlighting the effectiveness of quiet diplomacy. Vietnam's silent, multi-pronged strategy shows the power of flexibility in turbulent waters. The Philippines and Vietnam offer contrasting strategies in the South China Sea. The Philippines opts for assertive transparency and alliance building, seeking international support to deter China. Vietnam chooses quiet diplomacy and strategic land reclamation, avoiding direct confrontation. Each approach has strengths and risks. Manila gains global attention but risks escalation, while Hanoi avoids conflict but may lack international backing. These strategies reflect each nation's unique priorities and geopolitical realities. Their choices offer lessons in resilience, diplomacy, and the balance of power. The effectiveness of each will depend on how they manage China while protecting their interests. The future of the South China Sea remains uncertain as tensions simmer and strategies evolve. Recent clashes and shifting alliances highlight the region's volatility. The involvement of major powers and differing regional strategies add complexity to the conflict. The risk of escalation is ever present, making dialogue and diplomacy essential. International law remains a critical, if contested, framework for stability. China's power is formidable, but the resilience and alliances of its neighbors present real challenges. The South China Sea stands as a test of strategy, diplomacy, and the shifting balance of power in the Indo-Pacific.